Good morning, everyone. All right, sorry I'm working a little bit late today. So we got a few decent options. The first one is ADMP. Still kind of building my watch list though, so just give me a second. But yeah, you can see ADMP is looking really good here, gapping up from 320 to 510. GBR kind of same thing here, gapping up from 422 to 601. Watching PED, this one was a crazy mover on last week. And so this one's up to 288 from 227. Still kind of building my watch list, guys, so might take me a minute. But yeah, doesn't look too bad for a Monday. Today I will be streaming a large majority of the day. It's my all-day stream. And so today I will be streaming almost all day today. RSYS looks like a possible acquisition or a merger. What about CEI? Good morning. I do the same thing every morning. I always forget to mute my computer. CEI. CEI's running a little bit, guys. Run. CGen. CGEN. Let's see, Cali, TRXC. TRXC looks good. Still kind of finding what else I can trade today. Hold on, let's see. Almost finished. What's up, Mitch? What's up, brother? Hey, man, I know you you Skyped me this morning. I don't know how to get it set up on my I don't know how to get it set up on my computer, brother. So we'll try to do that as the stream's going. Just let me get everything set up, Mitch, and then once I go over the news, we could try to get you set up here. Good morning, Missouri. Josh, what's up, guys? Yeah, first day of July trading. James, what's up, brother? Good morning, man. Mitch, Southwest Florida, James. Hope the weather's good, bro. What's up, Tyrell? What's up, brother? Good morning, Kang. All right, so let me go ahead and add my watch list to the chat. Not too bad of a morning. Let me go ahead and create my watch list. Good morning, Eric. BLNK. I haven't even seen BLNK yet. Let me look at it. BLNK is just not moving that much. GBR, CEI, and ADMP look good, though. I know I'm missing one. Let me see. MDXG. Yeah, I'm watching MDXG for a big gap down. I'm watching GEVO. That's another one I'm watching. Had a crazy bad day. That's it. That's the other one I'm watching. I forgot. All right. Good morning, JT. What's up, brother? Good morning, John. I think this is it. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, I got too many. There we go. All right, here's my watch list thus far, guys. Give me a second. I will go over my stuff on Twitter. All right, today is 7/1/2018, so it's July 1st. Time's moving fast this year. Time's been going by fast. At least it feels like it has. All right, so let's see how many of these are actually tradable on TradeNet. That's what I'm really curious to see. I know AD&P was a crazy mover. Oh, snap. Today's not 7/1. I put it as 7/1. Today's the 2nd. Let me fix that. There we go. You know, they should really let you edit your tweets. It's like once you send one, you can't edit it. All right. Good morning, Alan. All right, so let's see if any of these are actually tradable today. First one's GBR. It is, in fact, tradable. PED. They added PED. That's always good to see. They did add it. ADMP. Make sure I got this right. ADMP is tradable, so that's good. 3 of the biggest watches. I doubt CGEN is tradable. The reason I can probably predict that this one's not tradable, and I hope I'm wrong, is that the volume just hasn't been that great with this one. Yeah. See, CGEN not tradable. And usually the stock has to have good volume throughout the day. Let's see, BLFS, no. GEVO, yes, good. RSYS, no. CEI, yes, that's good. TRXC, yep. What's the last one? I think XLSP, XPSL. Let me see, what is this one? Oh, I got CEI twice. That's what's wrong with my watch list. I could put MDXG, but most of the stuff on my watch list is tradable today. But yeah, these 3 are. That's the most important thing. So most of the stuff's tradable. All right, so I'm trying to get Mitch set up so where Mitch can speak over my stream as well. Let's see if I could try to mess with do that. Good morning, Alan. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Good morning, Tiny. I mean, if you just open an intro account, you should have a demo. I mean, so they'll send you like a demo account for you to use if you want for like a few, you know, I think you would get access to the paper trading account for like a month or something like that. But yeah, if you want your funded account from TradeNet, I mean, all I did was ask them for it. Like, I just told them, hey, look, you know, I want my funded account now, and they sent it to me immediately in like a day or two. Alright, Mitch, to be honest, man, I'm pretty lost with regard to Skype. Plus, I don't know how I would hear you. I would probably have to find some headphones, I'm guessing. If not, there would be like a lag in between when I hear you and, you know, when you spoke. Let's see. Alright, so here's Skype. Alright, so I see you sent me a message, Mitch. Hold on one second. I'm going to go ahead and accept it. Good morning, Sense. Good morning, Seven. What's up, guys? All right, Mitch. I'm gonna try calling you. I guess that's what I do. Hold on one second. Sorry. Oh.
Yo, what's going on?
What's up, brother? Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
All right, nice.
I gotta change the headsets, but I can hear you perfect.
All right, nice. Let me see if I can get it to come out over on the stream. Hold on one second. Hey, can you guys hear Mitch? Let me know if you can hear Mitch.
Hey, testing. How you guys doing out there? How you guys doing?
Yeah, give me some feedback. Let me know if
Yeah, let us know. Let us know if you guys hear me all right. Just coming in here, just testing out. We're coming through Skype, trying to chat up here. If you guys can hear me, go ahead and put it in the chat room so that way we know we're all set.
I mean, if not, I think I can put it just towards desktop audio.
I think that's what you're gonna have to do, probably, to desktop audio.
Right.
And you're just gonna have to watch your desktop audio and see if anything goes off or anything.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna have to go grab some headphones really quick. I need to make my morning cup of coffee too.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, guys. Hey, I gotta go grab some headphones so you'll be able to hear Mitch. Okay. Hey, they're coming through though, Mitch. They said they can hear both of you, or both of us. Here, let me turn my. It's probably just because it's coming off of my desktop speakers and straight into my microphone, and my microphone's pretty sensitive, so I think that'll work.
Exactly.
So here, let me just turn it up. There we go. All right, so yeah, guys, let's look at the news for some of these stocks.
There you go. I got my headphones on, so a lot better.
All right, nice. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go grab some. I gotta make my coffee anyway, so let's see.
Go ahead.
But yeah, I'm really looking for a VWAP fade on GBR and ADMP. We'll see about PED as well. PED gave back, I think, a lot of these gains, didn't it? No, not really, actually. It's up from 31 cents, so it's still got room. But yeah, I'm going to go try to grab my headphones really quick to see if that will make it a little bit clearer. So they're saying their volume is low, but they can still hear you. So here, let me go grab my headphones, and then I'm just going to put it to where you come out on desktop audio. Instead of it going from my speaker to my microphone, desktop audio would just make it so it should just be automatically on the stream. So just give me a second.
No stress. Just gonna be watching GBR out the gate, you guys. GBR has done some moves that definitely got some shorts squeezed out. I was actually looking at a couple big traders that trade short, and they were looking at it trading into the $4 range and getting short in that range. And as we see this morning, it just shot through that $4 range. So this stock is definitely up. It's an oil play. If you actually look at all the sympathy plays, you got GVR, PED, CEI. They're all actually oil plays. A lot of this has to do with the administration right now and the decisions they're making with cutting off the supply from Iran, and also Russia trying to step up with OPEC to meet the demand. I am going to be watching ADMP. You do got that support there off of 498, resistance up there at 564. Another stock I will be watching is BLNK. That's the stock that I saw. There's a ton of volume that came in on the close on Friday. It was 105,000, and I always like to see big volume coming in on those supports, because if it is a break of that support at 496, we should get a move back down. And BLNK did have that huge move back in May, and it seems like that move is just done. It's tried to get back above that 640, $6 range, and it hasn't been able to make it there. And if it breaks that support today, it should give you that VWAP fade, and we'll be looking for a multi-day support breakdown. So I expect it to get a little boost. I would actually want it to go up here, so that way we get that potential down move as it opens.
All right, what's up, Mitch? All right, I found some headphones, brother. So just give me a second, man. Let me test this out really quick.
Perfect, no worries.
All right, I'm gonna mute my thing while I get it set up. So just give me a second. Hey, Mitch, say something real quick.
Hey, welcome. Let's go ahead and get this going.
No, it's still not coming on my headphones. I don't know why my speaker's doing that. I mean, the only thing I can really think of is directly linking it straight to my computer. Let me see.
Yeah, I have sometimes that problem also.
Or I could just turn the mic up, but I'd prefer it to just come out straight on my computer or straight on my headphones.
That'd probably be the best.
Let me see. Oh, wait, I have two ports here. Maybe I'm hitting the wrong port. There we go. There we go. Hey, I got it. I got it. Okay, so they probably can't. Yeah, they can't hear you right now. Hold on. Let me. All right, here. Try this. All right, now talk, Mitch.
All right, how's it going, guys? Ready to get this?
That should be good. I'm seeing it pick up really well on my desktop audio every time you talk, so we should be good with this. I can hear you on my headphones now. And
that's perfect.
All right, nice.
All right, go ahead. No stress, man. Continue, and if anything, we'll go ahead and fix it up later in the stream.
All right, well, here, go ahead and talk to him. I'm gonna go over the news in a second. I need some coffee, brother. So you could.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll start looking up some news on ADMP.
Okay.
All right, guys. All right, guys. Now you can hear me less. It's gonna be a little bit lower. We'll work on the sound quality and the loudness throughout the stream. Let's just go ahead and focus on getting ready for the day. We do got ADMP as one of the movers that is moving. Looking up the news right now, pulling it up. So we got two press releases. One says Norris injects itself into planned rollout of EpiPen rival. So it seems like they're just being the rival competition for the EpiPen. As you can see from this news, it's really fluff. The good thing that it is that they paid. You can see it's coming out of the Wall Street Journal. So part of that being is that if they're coming from the Wall Street Journal, they definitely paid a good amount for this publication. So you want to go ahead and let's try to get, if anyone has the Wall Street Journal, so that we could actually get into this, because essentially you need to sign in with the Wall Street Journal to read this. It's just a potential rival to Mayan. So what I would do is I try to look at the Mayan stock and see how that's performing. Let me see how Mayan's performing. What's going on? What's going on, guys? NVCN is usually too cheap. Let me see where the price range is at now. NVCN usually it's a stock that has just been diluted throughout the year. I've traded this multiple times in multiple years, and it's always been a stock that just goes straight up and straight down. You can see it's at the 40 cents. It's at 4 cents, guys. Yeah, it's too cheap. Way too cheap. Definitely not something you want to trade. Especially because mostly we're short biased and trying to trade short, and a stock that only has 3 cents to the downside. The upside, yeah, you could long this, but this stock could just go bankrupt here, and you're pretty much just putting your money out there at risk. What's going on? What's going on, guys?
All right, so I think they said that it was loud, Mitch. I went ahead and turned your volume down some. Let me see. Talk now. I'm trying to tweak it so it works the best.
Yeah, it's gonna take a little bit.
All right, that should be good. Let me know if that's better, guys.
All right, guys. So with ADMP, I'm seeing that it's just a rival with Mylan. They're trying to compete with that EpiPen.
All right, so yeah, the volume sounds good. Let's see.
Yeah, that sounded pretty nice. It didn't sound bad.
Okay. Yeah, I figured we could bring Mitch in here, especially since today I'm doing the all-day stream, and so we might as well have 2 people here talking to us while we do it. So nice.
Yeah.
All right, good.
If you want, lower me a tiny bit. They're saying that I'm a little bit louder, so I don't mind you being the louder one. I can just come on in. That's the idea.
Yeah. Here, try that. I keep lowering it. I don't know if it's actually going down. Let me see.
Yeah, who knows? You both are at the same volume. It's good now.
There we go.
Yeah, that's just pretty good.
All right.
If they're saying they were near the same, that's pretty good.
All right. So did you go over GBR yet? I think GBR is probably.
I left GBR. I just went over ADMP.
Okay.
It's basically a rival play on Mylan. So it's competing with one of the top competitors with EpiPen.
Okay. I don't think GBR has any new catalyst out. I think it's probably just moving on momentum from last week. Yeah, I don't see any new catalysts on GBR. If anybody else sees anything on it, let me know, but I don't see anything with that one. PED, probably the same thing here. Probably moving up on momentum from last week. Yeah, no new catalyst on PED either.
Yeah, also CEI, the same thing.
Yeah, so
those 3.
Yeah, a lot of times that'll happen. It's just up on momentum. All right, so let's look at CGEN. CGEN is new. I don't think it moved last week. All right, so the FDA lifted its clinical hold on their cancer treatment for CGEN. It's an Israeli biotech company, and yeah, the FDA lifted a clinical hold on its investigational new drug IND, which is an application for COM701. It's an immuno-oncology therapeutic antibody. Yeah, so basically the FDA gave them permission to start their clinical trials and lifted the hold from them doing the clinical trials. And so they're actually able to do their clinical trials now. And so that's pretty good news. We'll see what happens. I don't think I can trade this one on TradeNet, unfortunately, but it's moving decent. It has some nice volume. Hey, did you put any milk in it? Here, put a little bit of milk in it. Thank you. Sorry, my wife's making me some coffee this morning. Anyways, so we also have BLFS. There's also RSYS, but I'm pretty sure it's an acquisition. You can see BLFS here gapping up from 1141 to 1351. Not the best volume. I don't think it'll probably. I doubt it'll move too much today, but you never know, I guess. BLFS are reporting second quarter preliminary revenue of 5.2 mil. That's up 103%. Thank you. That's up 103% from last year. And so good revenue for BLFS. We'll see if it picks up a little bit more. Another one I'm looking at is, you can see RSYS. I'm pretty sure this is an acquisition of some sort, or a merger. It just looks like one. And if it is, I doubt it'll move too much. Let's see. Yeah, so Reliance Industries announced this past Friday that it's going to acquire RSYS, which stands for Rate Assist, for $1.72 per share. And so it probably won't move too much. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to watch it aside from that. CEI, you can see probably moving up on technicals like Mitch said, gapping up from 50 to 73. TRXC is moving a little bit in pre-market as well. You can see it's up from 436 to 473 as well. All right, so the second quarter sales were above the street expectations for TRXC, and that's why it's gapping up. Not a bad gap up. We'll see if we can get a little bit more volume in pre-market. And then the last one I'm looking at, I think that might be it, actually. SSLP. I'm trying to think of. Is that your dog, Mitch?
Yeah, dude, you hear him in the background?
Yeah, man. I can hear that squeaky toy, bro.
Oh my god, I was just about to say something, but he's over here killing this freaking raccoon.
I hear it, man. I hear it.
Yeah, he don't like that coon.
Yeah, man.
Funny thing is, they just sit around me. I got my dog and my cat, you know, the support system.
Yeah. Hey, appreciate the sub, Bayed. Welcome, brother. Appreciate it, man.
One of the key things, guys, to pay attention to is with sympathy plays, there's usually a leader and a lagger. So with CEI, PED, and GBR, what I would mainly be looking for is which one's going to be the one that's going to lead the day. It was PED, as it was the first one to really get all these stocks really moving, but this could always change, especially as GBR has been moving with that much volume and that much attention from traders. So what you want to mainly see is I look at all three of them and wait for them to all break down or all go long. Until I really start seeing that, that's when I'll start actually bringing them attention and looking for a setup.
Yeah, that makes sense. You want to make sure. I know that a lot of traders use that strategy, kind of looking for sympathy plays, especially with like hard to borrow shorts, where you can't necessarily short the alpha stock in that sector, but you probably can short a related sympathy stock, if that makes sense.
Especially when it's an oil play. I think when it's oil that has to do with it, it's not necessarily like a Chinese stock or let's say a biotech. It's oil, so they all are based on the same underlying asset.
Right.
You know, one of the key things I was taught in financials and actually learning like fundamentals is you got to know what the underlying asset is. And if that value is changing, that's why the stock prices are changing.
Right. It makes sense. Appreciate the sub, Dylan. Welcome, brother. Appreciate it, man. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm pretty surprised by this market, though, Mitch. Like, last summer was really, really slow, and this summer's it hasn't really been too bad. They've actually had a lot of, crazy moves this summer. So it hasn't really been a bad summer. It's been a pretty decent summer.
Can't complain at all, man.
Yeah,
you're completely right. The moves have been pretty good. One of the key things is we did get the momentum push, so we want to be, on top of things around this time. If we are getting the momentum, we could get a slow July. So that being said, we have to just really take advantage of the big opportunities now.
Right. Yeah, I'll probably try to use a little bit larger sizing today. The thing about it is, like, the last 2 weeks have all technically been profitable for me, and I've had definitely more green trades than I've had red trades, and so, you know, I have to get used to taking a bigger loss. Like, I have to be okay with taking, you know, a 30, 40, $50 loss, and that has to be okay, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
I have to be that has to be something I'm used to, you know.
Yeah, the biggest thing is, I always think is you got to learn to lose first before you learn to win,
Right.
you know?
And I hate losing, you know.
Hey, who does, man? No one likes it, bro. No one likes it.
Yeah.
Everyone
FBIO.
wants to be right.
Yeah, for sure, man. FBIO. See, FBIO doesn't have that good a volume. The volume's still a little bit low with this one, you know. I mean, it's gapping up from 298 to 310, so I mean, it's gapping up some, but the volume's just not there. You know, it looks pretty low. I'm not saying it won't move, but I think if it does move, it'll either get rejected at 340 or it's gonna break the closing price and start washing. But you never know. I just doubt it'll move much, though, to be honest. But we'll see. You never really know. Good morning, NYC. Good morning, Eric. You have 2 hounds. That's awesome, bro. Yeah, my dad is actually a falconer. So like he hunts with hawks. He trains hawks, and if he whistles, the hawk will go back and fly on his glove. And so it's not like conventional hunting. He just lets his birds hunt, if that makes sense. You know. It's cool though. But yeah, I've never hunted with dogs or anything like that.
All right. So, one of the key things, I wasn't able to put a really big review video on it, but with the VWAP trade, one of the key things I've been learning about it is that we got to start learning how to increase the risk and just manage it. So that's what I'm really going to be trying to do more often now, is trying to go in with small share sizing to begin with. Let's say about 50, 25 to 100 shares, somewhere in between there. And I'm going to be looking towards getting that good push down at first. And on that next bounce up, I will be looking to add and then take that good position. One of the key things I see with the VWAP fade is that when it does squeeze on us, we are going to get squeezed hard. So that's why I'm starting to learn to go a little bit smaller share sizing first, right, and then add hard into it.
Right. Yeah, when it gets squeezed, I mean, it makes sense why, though, because it's like when it gets squeezed, it's such a bearish looking pattern when it goes up to the VWAP and starts to kind of push back down. And so when it gets squeezed over the VWAP, like all the shorts start covering. And so it just gets squeezed really high. And so that's the scariest thing about that VWAP fade setup, is just the squeeze that could potentially happen.
I am seeing a little breakdown of the support there of ADMP. ADMP broke that $5 there, now down to 480s. So it's definitely going to be one that we'll be watching out the gate. Out the gate, I'll be watching BLNK and ADMP, guys. 1 minute to the bell. Let's go.
Yeah, I'll probably be watching ADMP, GBR, PED, and TRXC. All right, yeah, guys, we got less than a minute, so good luck, everyone. Yeah, Where the Red Fern Grows was my favorite book. It was the first book I ever read. I read it when I was like 9, but it was the first real book I ever read that wasn't like a children's book. Probably my favorite book in the world. Really sad though, but an awesome book. But yeah, market opens up in 10 seconds, guys, so good luck, everyone. All right, here's the bell. There we go. All right, so yeah, ADMP starting to wash some here. Down to 465. GBR starting to push up a little bit. It's at 612 now. We'll see if we can get over this resistance level at 635 and keep pushing. TRXC falling down.
Main watch right now is ADMP on that breakdown. I'm seeing GBR shoot on up, guys.
Yeah, we'll see if it's kind of a reverse washout long, a green to red move on GBR is what I think might happen. But we'll see. $6 is kind of that crucial level. See if we can hold above that, break underneath the VWAP.
No bounce, no bounce.
I'm sure I probably could 7. It's a really cool thing. Like, I've done it all my life. Like, I've hunted with his birds all my life. It's really fun. He trains them to like fly into his glove. Like, if he whistles, they will fly and land on his glove.
ADMP.
I know. Look at this drop, man. It just didn't give me an entry though.
It didn't give no one an entry, man. No worries. You would have to get into this pre-market.
Right. And I just don't want to risk that. And so I always want an entry. That's one of the things that I think is definitely improved my trading is, you know, before I would blindly jump in the first candle. You know what I mean? And now it's like I just wait for a pullback. That's what I prefer, at least.
Yeah, the daily really gave us away. We were getting down moves on the daily, and we got a huge gap up, way too big today.
Right.
Overextended, gonna push down at least to that resistance on 5, and then when it broke that resistance on 5, just coming right back down to the support there.
Yeah, we'll see if it bounces a little bit here.
Yeah,
GBR.
I would be interested at 5 range.
Yeah, but look at GBR, man. I thought it may do a red to green move. This thing just keeps running.
Yeah, it's a stock that you got to go with fourth of your share sizing and add into it as you get that confirmation in your trade.
All right, so
if you try full sizing on that, you're just gonna burn yourself.
Oh, for sure, man. There's no way. Like the only thing I really feel comfortable doing full sizing in is if it's my go-to setup, like the VWAP fade or something like that, you know. Anything else, if I'm just kind of experimenting, like back testing a setup, I'm just using small size, you know.
All right, so interesting.
Yeah, look at it. GBR just broke the high pre-market, broke 7. It's up to 706 now. I'm watching PED for a VWAP rejection or a VWAP fade here. If it can bounce up and then it looks like it's going to get rejected at the VWAP, I'll consider it. TRXC actually already did a VWAP fade. I'm kind of bummed out about it. Look at TRXC, Mitch. A beautiful example of it. Really quick, but just now noticed it.
Oh, that was nice.
There it goes. You see it? There's that beautiful,
that was nice.
That was it right there, man. I just got to catch it. Covenant Trading, welcome, brother. Appreciate it, man. Welcome.
Let me pull my scan up.
GBR up to 775, 781. All right, so here's PED. Here goes, Mitch.
All right.
Here's PED.
I'm seeing BLNK. BLNK there had a little bit of a down candle there from 517 to 509 there.
All right, I jumped in PED with 200 shares, but man, I got to be careful here. It may start to squeeze up. There's the squeeze. I'm out. I got out for a $35 loss. Big loss, man. What happened was, like, I jumped in, and the spread was, right when I jumped in, the spread got much worse. And so I was down, like, I tried to use 200 shares, which probably was a bad idea. And so, yeah, I took a massive loss. Man,
good, man.
It hurts.
Just get your focus back. Just realize what it was the share sizing. That's what happened there. That's all it was. It wasn't the setup. It was the share size. Yeah,
it got squeezed up pretty quickly too. But it's all right. You know, I gotta get used to losing. Like I said, if I lose 35 or 40 bucks on a trade, that's okay. You know, like I have to get used to using bigger sizing, and because of that, losing bigger amounts. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, the trade was TRXC right here, though. Like, that was the one to get into.
Oh, look at this stock. Look at GEMP. GEMP.
Oh, GEMP? That one was running on Friday.
Yeah, look at that. That was nice.
My Thinkorswim's not loading.
Yeah, I Thinkorswim won't load it for me either. I had to use TIFFs.
Let me use my other monitor.
I don't know. It's Thinkorswim with that stock. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's not loading it on my laptop either. See, there goes PED. I'm kind of making a mental note not to trade PED. Not after this move. It goes all the way up to 3, comes right back down to the low of the day, and so it's just a little bit unpredictable. Look at BLFS, though. BLFS here.
All right.
Volume's a little bit low, but it looks like a VWAP fade. I might test this out. And see, look at PED. PED washes right after that. Man. It hurts. It hurts. Appreciate the sub, George.
Might get in here with a small share size. If ADMP pops up to 450, I'd be risking off of 456. The last high was 455.
Nice.
It'd be a small share size, about 50 shares, so about a fourth of my share size. I would look for this bounce up to fill me at 450, and I'd look to add through 430s. Don't have my order out there, as someone could just slam it up there, so you're gonna wait till it at least gets up past like the 45, 50 area. Then manage your risk. The ultimate risk is 475. That's why I'm going in with smaller share size. That's 25 risk. I have potential. I see about 40 cents.
BLFS isn't tradable, unfortunately, on TradeNet.
I'm seeing GEMP there, move up there a little bit near that VWAP.
There's GEMP. Yeah, I'm liking GEMP as well. I may try to get like a tester trade on this one.
Yeah, if you do, just try to get that confidence. Nail the trade.
All right, so I'm in with 50 shares, small share size with it on GEMP.
What's your entry?
My entry is 936.
All right.
Look for a goal of like 920, maybe a little bit lower if it continues to fall.
What's your risk off of?
954, 960.
I like the 960.
Yeah, I think I have to put it a little bit higher.
Yeah, you might get that bounce to the 50.
Right.
One of the key things I'm paying attention to is also I'm paying attention to oil, actually oil overall for the sympathy plays. I'm watching 3-time leverage drip and gush to watch out for GBR and PED, CEI.
Yeah,
CEI
look at
going
CEI.
up there.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, pushing hard.
That one's massive move, man. Big move on CEI. All right, so there's the bounce on GEMP. It bounced up to 950 really quick. It's at 947. I have a small enough share size to where I can be relatively comfortable in the trade regardless of a bounce, and I'm just going to stick to that 960 level. Probably maybe give myself to 961 or so, 962, a little bit over it to see if it can test that area and come back down.
I like it. I'm trying to get in, actually. Trying to get short here. I have a short out at 50, 100 shares.
Okay. But yeah, if you look at PED, I mean, that was a big loss, like for me relative to what I usually do. But I tried to use 200 shares, and so that would have been a, like a $16 loss. And so if I was using the same share size I usually do, it would have been a normal loss for me. And so I can't let that affect me at this point, just because using bigger sizing, I'm going to take bigger losses. but I'm also going to have bigger gains when I do well. And so I have to focus on that and just not let the losses affect me as much. Just kind of take it slow. GEVO just broke the lows of the day. It's down to 375 right now. It's still dropping.
I canceled my order. It's drying up. I'm looking to get in, but don't want to get in here on the 45. Would like to get here on the 50.
Yeah, the volume's kind of starting to come down a little bit.
But it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing as you just don't have buying at least.
Right.
What you don't want to see is the running of the buying. Yeah, I think people are shorting hard on ADMP, but it's a little bit too much risky because the shorts that are in there now are pretty big, and the spike could get up there. But I definitely think people are shorting ADMP really hard. It's kind of like DERM. There you go. You got a nice little confirmation there. I like that little down part right there.
Bounce. Yeah, that little drop.
Yeah, so now I'll be looking for like 48s. Anything, if it bounces to 48, I'll take it. And we're risking off of that 60.
Right.
There you go.
See if we can keep going here. I mean, the volume's low, so it may take a little bit longer. But like you said, the volume drying up isn't necessarily a bad thing, especially since I'm shorting it. If I was going long, the volume drying up would be much worse.
That's a nice sign.
Yeah.
ADMP there, you see it spiking up there. It's probably going to squeeze there. I wouldn't take a short there now.
Yeah, it has so much support underneath it that it's bounced off
too
of
much.
At 430. It's just got a lot of support there. CEI looks to be somewhat pulling back here, like flagging a little bit possibly down to the 90-cent level. Nice, Tyrell. Good job, brother.
All right. It's looking good for you, brother.
Yeah, down to 940. Let's see if we can just get that wash.
If I would have been able to get filled there at 48s, I would be looking for at least this breakdown right there. It has to break down below 39s. But after that, I would be looking for an ad. So if you get that breakdown, you'll be looking for a good confirmation.
Yeah, we'll
at
see
least
if it...
to 27s.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, I'm relatively comfortable in it. I use small enough share size. I think I just need to bounce back after that loss.
So you got your confirmation there. You're down to 930s there.
Yeah, at this point, I'm just looking for it to break these lows. This was a big runner last week, and so it could potentially, wash out pretty strong here. It's got some support at 918.
What's your entry again?
936.
All right. So, at least from my perspective on this strategy, what I'm looking for, if that was my entry 936, after I got that confirmation below 930s, I don't mind adding share size as long as it's near my average. So 37s or 40s. If anything gets in the 40s here, I would look to add, and then you could risk off of that 50.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
The key really is going to be is you got a decent amount of volume on that little wash down. If you watch the candles, it's starting to increase. The real key to what I'm seeing with this strategy is that you have to really start trying to push into averaging that size so that you can, if you risk 10 cents, or 5 cents, then that's fine. The real key is controlling the risk. 5 cents for a potential, 20, 30 cent gain with big sizing. That's really, I think, what's really going to change and get us into profitable.
Hey, real quick, Mitch, look at ADMP. What do you think about that VWAP test?
I did see that. On my VWAP, it's not all the way up to the VWAP, at least from TIFFs.
Yeah, it's about 5 or 10 cents away.
I'd wait, guys. It's just playing around, I think. It's just playing a little bit of a game at first. If you go and you jump into that, you have to risk off of 70. You have to risk off the VWAP. Right. I don't like risking on the VWAP because when it breaks the VWAP, it usually breaks it by 20, 30 cents, and that's just too much risk.
Yeah, like I got caught in PED. It broke that VWAP quick.
Exactly. I don't really like using the VWAP as my risk spot. I like using right above it.
Yeah, I think that makes more sense because a lot of times it'll tap above the VWAP anyway. All right, so there goes ADMP. I mean, it got kind of rejected there. It's testing that low though. Like I said, it's got so much support here at 430 that you don't know what it's gonna do.
There's GEMP bouncing here. Probably should get a little bounce. As long as the bounce is below 950, in my position, I would be looking for an ad there.
Yeah, there's the bounce up to 940 essentially.
Yeah, see the 9 EMA there, 940.
Yeah, CEI. Like I said, I kind of mentioned this one was flagging some. If you look at CEI here.
Oh Lord. I'm also keeping an eye on DERM, and it's crashing pretty hard there.
Yeah, DERM and GEMP were the ones that were moving last week, and so a lot of times people forget about these stocks. Like people forget about these big crazy movers, and a lot of the times they just come right back down, and nobody even notices. Like DERM, GEMP, these were big running stocks on Friday of last week. Look at GEVO, Mitch. GEVO. Check out GEVO right now.
Oh, you see that these are the stocks we want to keep on watch, man. This is why I had BLNK. This is why I was looking at GEMP, and that's why I was looking at ADMP. Stocks like that, especially DERM also. It had that support there, guys. If we do get volume meaning that shorts are in this, then we're getting that confirmation. Hey, your GEMP trade is looking beautiful, man. You see that little bounce up there? Didn't even get to the 40s.
Yep.
Now that on that 926, this is what I would have done. So if I would have been short there on that 940, 945 area, 950, on that bounce there to 38s, that's when you're going to look for your ad. And then what you do is the big traders, they like to add on the breakdown. So the next time that if it really breaks at 27, that would be their next ad. From here on out, the only thing they're doing is managing their risk.
Right.
Their average is usually around 40s now.
Yeah, here's the bounce on a. Yeah, somebody mentioned GBR here. All right, I gotta watch for a squeeze on GEMP at this point.
Yeah, just watch it. Just not over. I say 950s. Over 950s.
Hey, appreciate it, Michael. Appreciate it, brother.
This is what I call the up 3. So you just don't want it to go past the resistance, the prior highs.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a little bit of time. I don't mind holding on to this one. My risk in it, right, as of this point is relatively small, so I don't mind necessarily just kind of waiting, trying to let it work for me for a few minutes.
Yeah, definitely. What I would do is, bro, I'd definitely just wait, relax, and try to see the trade work out for you. You know your risk, and if you do get that confirmation below that low, I would look to take that chance and add and really make your gain for the day and just call it a day, because that could be your winner right there. The key is really just going to be this rejection here.
Yeah, really the biggest thing that's concerning at this point is that I didn't really notice it before, but it has this 918 support from the previous day. And I think if it washes out underneath there, it's going to start hitting pretty hard. But it's a big if on GEMP.
So you got two options. I would say on this next down move, if you do get a down move here, you could take some profit if you don't see that break of that 27. So it needs to break that low now on this next drive down.
Yeah, the only thing with it, it's a little spready.
It is. It's the volume slowing down on it. I'm watching on ADMP, a possible pop-up to 65. 65 is where the 5-minute VWAP is. I like that area to get short off of 480.
PED. Yeah, I mean PED. I got in this one once. I took the biggest loss I've taken, and man, I don't know, biggest loss I've taken, and yeah, there's the nice drop on it. Yeah, I took the biggest loss I've taken in like months on PED, and so usually when a stock acts like that, I just don't touch it. You know.
So this is a big important part right there on GMP. You definitely don't want it over 940s now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, now 940s, over 940s, you just get out. So a little pop up here to 933s is fine, just not over 940s. And you would really want it just to break down right here.
Right.
The wash.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, that wash right there. And that's where the last ad is on what I expect to be the strategy and what I'm working on. This is on the breakdown though. You have to get that full breakdown. So I would have an order out probably a 920 and wait for that real breakdown, and you add and you slam into that breakdown. But the real key is you got to measure the base of the move. So the base of this move was from 980 to 926. So you're looking at like 60 cents for 50 cents. So that's what I would look for the breakdown. A move probably to the 870s, 880s, somewhere in there. But it's a good trade, man. I wish I would have been able to get in there at 950s, 940s.
Yeah, appreciate it. I mean, it's one of those ones I took small share size just because I took that big loss. To be honest, I kind of like CEI. I really don't like shorting stocks under $1, but CEI, I mean, if it washes out under the VWAP here, I like a short down to 75. But we'll see. But like I said, I'm very hesitant to short stocks under $1 just because it's really... I just never had good success with it. AXON. That's Mitch, Skynet. And GBR as well. If GBR breaks under this 850 level, that looks interesting as well. Yeah, AXON. Look at that VWAP fade on AXON. The range is pretty small with this stock, but...
Yeah, the key is the range is a little tight. I can actually show you guys that review video. We should talk about that review video that I sent you on AXON. That was a beautiful short that they did.
Oh yeah, no, I saw that. That was nice. Yeah, that's a really good video. That was a really good video. Who did that video? What is it? SMB Capital?
Yeah, SMB Capital.
Yeah, they're legit, man. Really good information.
I've been watching videos on them all weekend, guys. Just really think they're just really quality and the way they take their approach. You know, I always say the approach is the destination.
All right, so here's GEMP testing these lows again.
Man, I think we did a little miss out there on DERM. That was a good move there.
All right, I got out for a $10 gain really quick on GEMP. There's the wash. I could have held, but I got out for a profit. I took it off.
Yeah, you got to take that, man. You got to hold that one.
I know for sure. That's the biggest thing. I put a video out this weekend.
Look at the daily. Look at the daily, man. Look at the daily. Look at that. Look at all that space.
I mean, if I would have taken the 200 shares like I did on PED, this would have been made my day for sure. But like I said, I have to get used to taking bigger sizing. You know, if I could get used to taking bigger sizing and not worrying about my losses as much, you know, like statistically these past 2 weeks have been really good weeks. Like I've had both of these past few weeks, I've had much
did you see
more
that wick?
Yeah, for sure. For sure, man. But yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I'm happy my trade idea was correct, you know. I think Jeremy asked, what is the edge in this trade? So the edge is, like, if you look at most of these, the edge is good risk reward for the most part.
To me, this is let me pull this up a little closer on the daily. This is what you would call some strategies. They call this the second red day. So it was green, super green on Friday. Went gapped up, you know, got all the way up there to almost $12. The high was 1143, and on the second day, it just fails.
Right.
So a lot of traders, they look for that. They're looking for the levels to fail, and the real level that needed to pass was that 1050. If you look back on the chart, it tried to break that 1050, tried to get back over, couldn't regain that 1050, and then this morning it just broke down through 969 as its last attempt to touch 10, and then after that it just broke down.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of the bread and butter trade I've been talking about. I think I got a little bit too impatient with PED. Like I think at one point it needs to be. One thing I'm noticing with these VWAP fade setups is that whenever they usually happen, they look like this. Like they look like ADMP and GEMP. If the stock opens up above the VWAP, like PED did, and it's kind of moving crazy, I think the chances of it doing what I want it to are much less. But like, whereas if it opens up around the VWAP or underneath it and it's a bearish trend, I think that's when the VWAP fade setup has the most validity. I think if it's kind of sideways action or if it opens up above the VWAP like PED did, I think the chances of success are substantially lower. Just from my watching these setups happen over and over again. Like I'm still trying to tweak the setup, you know.
There's a red to green move there on Jivo. If you want to watch that.
Yeah, watching this one push up. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't take this short. I was really thinking about it here.
Yeah. No, but in that GAMP trade, let's talk a little bit more about that. That's the reason why I say that you got to learn how to add into this position is really how the best traders are trading it, because what they're doing is they're just gaining that average size. So they're using the highs and the lows to really base their position in there so that they have a good risk to reward. Because imagine if you're able to go and then short there, like I wanted to get there at 950. If you got there at 945, and then that first bounce up there at 938, you get filled there at some more. Now you're in like the 40s, and it never even gets there. It never gets nowhere near, and you got a potential 40 cents to make on a full size position.
Right.
That's really what it's about. And what you're doing is you're getting slight confirmation by you're starting the position, you get that slight down move. It's not huge confirmation, but it gives you enough to go ahead and say, all right, so now the trade is looking towards my direction. I am green in the trade. Now let's go ahead and try to mount some size and risk into the trade that I'm green into, versus as, oh, you definitely don't want to do adding into a losing position.
Right.
That I definitely don't agree with. But if it is a winning position, I've been seeing too many times that we don't take our big enough profits. So we cut our losses really small, $5, $10, $15, $20. But what we don't do is we don't let our winners really win for us. And that's what's really killing our profitability over the long term.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
if we're able to make $50, $60 on one trade, that's really what's going to change the way we trade, because we'll be able to get through those down days that we have. We lose 20, $30. We control those losses and then really start stepping up on the green days.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. Jeremy said there's no edge, no volatility. You could look at the daily and say it could fall to 830s because it's up on air, but given the current market, probably not going to happen in day trading. Volatility is key. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Anything, like, for instance, if I look at a setup and it happens, I'm trying to find an edge in each setup I have, right? If the setup ends up going my way more times than not, I consider that a strategy that I have somewhat an edge in. And like, so for instance, the last 2 weeks, I've been trading this VWAP rejection strategy, and it looks the same every time it happens. GEMP, you can also look at GEMP from last week and DERM, right? So if you look at Friday from GEMP, it's the same kind of thing here. It pushes up, taps the VWAP, comes back down. DERM, same thing. And so, I mean, from what I see, Jeremy, I see this setup happen enough to where I do think there's some edge in this pattern. Like DERM, same thing. It drops, pushes up, tests the VWAP, and then continues falling. Like Mitch said, though, I also think there's some edge in the second day wash. Like when a stock runs up like this and on the second day it starts to fail, I do think there's some validity in those as well. And really, the volume's not that low. I mean, it's got 80,000 shares traded a minute. That's not necessarily bad volume, especially for a $10 stock. You know, like BASI is starting to run, and it only has about 50,000 shares traded a minute. And so I don't think the volume's too bad. Especially if I'm shorting. You know, if I'm shorting, I think that's much better than where if I'm going long and the volume starts to dry up, if that makes sense.
It's getting interesting, actually. I'm watching it now. It had that huge bounce there to the VWAP.
Right. Yeah, for sure, insurance. I agree with Mitch, where it's like, you know, insurance has been one of those people that keep, you know, that have been encouraging me to use bigger sizing. And I'm starting to kind of agree with them. Like I said, the last 2 weeks, I've had much more profitable days than I've had losing days. And so I do consider that I have an edge in this pattern, because just statistically and historically, this setup has shown that, you know, it consistently shows an edge in my trading with this setup. If I'm having more green days and having more net profit days than losing days, you know, I think the edge is there. It's just about, you know, like for instance, here's a good example from today. PED. I used 200 shares, took a big loss, and then the one trade that worked out for me, which was GEMP, you know, I used 50 shares, and I had a really nice gain. But if I would have used 200, that would have taken away my loss, my original loss on the day plus more, and I would have been, you know, profitable today. And so I think I have to strike when I can and not be so hesitant to use bigger sizing. Like I said, I have to get used to using bigger sizing, if that makes sense.
I think you do, man. But I think in the end, I think it's not about taking that full position. That full position always creates too much emotion.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, you have to learn what is comfortable for you. You know, you jumping in there at 200 shares, immediately when it went against you about 10, 15 cents, you're going to want out.
Right.
Because you're not used to that. You're not used to seeing that P&L on the bottom there.
Right. I saw $35. My heart dropped, man. You know?
Exactly. It's normal, man.
Right.
I mean, I used to have 1,000 shares, man. I'll tell anybody, man. My worst loss ever was a stock that I hit the hotkey, breaking through a whole dollar point. I got filled 25 cents higher, and it immediately dropped 40 cents, and I had 1,000 shares.
Oof, $400, man.
Yeah, and the best part is I froze.
Yep.
And next thing you know, I took the biggest hit of my life. I'll never take a hit like that. You learn really quickly.
Yeah,
$700 loss.
Yeah, man. I can remember trading. I can remember trading on my SureTrader account, and you know, I would watch all these other traders when I first got started. Like if you go watch my really old videos, a lot of them are me trading on SureTrader, and I would take like 500 and 1,000 shares, and I had no idea what I was doing. Right, and I would get really excited about trading, and the funny thing is, like, I would make like $100 on the day, and I just could not lay down the keyboard. Like I could not lay down the computer and just say, okay, I'm up 100, I'm done. I'd be like, no, I can make more, and I'd keep trading until I'm down $500, $600, $700 in a day, until I'm like, you know, raging out, like punching my fucking couch, like angry because I kept trading. You know what I mean? And it's tough. And I think that's somewhat necessary for a trader to have to kind of go through those emotions so they understand that, like, you know, you're still a new trader. You're not just going to jump in and be profitable. You got to take it slow. You can't jump in with 1,000 shares and just think you're going to turn into a millionaire in a month, no matter what anybody says. You know, it's just not going to happen. You got to take it slow. You got to, you know, learn how to trade the market consistently, you know, and if you can make money, great, but you got to learn first.
Without a doubt, man. Without a doubt. I still, man, I'm telling you, what I think is going to be best for you is learning how to really size into positions. Even if our sizing is small, even if our maximum size up is going to be up to like 200, 250 shares, I think we could take advantage of the commission rate that we have. so that the multiple orders is not going to really affect us,
Right.
but give us the ability to really get into a stock and get that confirmation more and really get that gain, you
Right.
know. One of the key things is learning how to size in and size out so that you can start taking some profit off the table and then let the rest of it just work,
Right.
because we have seen those stocks that just keep going,
For
fade all
sure.
the way, all throughout the day until 3 4 p.m. And that's really what makes your account. If you're able to have the careless approach that once you get a little bit of profit, you're able to just relax on your trades and let
Right.
them really work. That's really what makes the big traders win. The big traders, you see them when they lose small, they're losing, $1,000, $2,000. But when they win big, they win 20, 30, $40,000. The reason they're winning big is that they're letting their winners, the day that they're winning, actually win. They're sizing into it and taking their chance
Right.
because they notice that that's their day that they're actually on top of the stocks. They're doing well. A lot of times you have those days where, you're watching the patterns really well. And then there's days that, you're just completely off and you
Right.
have to know, when to, pull the cord and when to go ahead and take some
Lay it down.
swings.
Right. Yeah, Skynet, that video I just posted, that link, I'm using the VWAP fade strategy. I checked Google and YouTube. There's actually a surprisingly decent amount of information on this setup. But yeah, I mean, GEMP is a good example. So I look for a stock to drop originally at the open. Or sometimes the stock can have a big breakout and then later on in the day drop below the VWAP. But I like it much better if it drops originally at the open, pulls up to test the VWAP area, and then gets rejected. So I like buying it on the pull back up. Like in this case, my entry should have been around 950. I got in a little bit lower, but 950 would have been a good entry. And then riding it down to test the low of the day. And if it breaks the low of the day, like for instance, this one was way down here, the low of the day was at 920. If it breaks that area, great, it can be a much bigger winner. But if it bounces back up, you can get out for a small win as well. And so decent risk reward. Risk in this case would have been at 960, so a 10-cent risk if I would have gone in at
Right.
950 with a 25, 30-cent potential reward. So
In there with a fourth of sizing on GEMP, short there, just a little starter there, 920. Looking for this 920s can break down. We can probably get right back down to this $9. Risk right now is off of 38, so about 18 cents with 50 shares. Really gives me the ability to start getting the starter into this. If I do see it pop up there at 38, I'm going to be really careful as it could get through that VWAP again. But I did see that one up, one down, a little perk up, down again. It perked up again. It could perk a little bit, but I just don't want it to get above 930s. But that's why I
right.
took the starter right there.
Yeah, that looks good. I mean, it looks good for a goal of down to that 890 level,
Yeah, you
Small
got
risk.
that support is starting to become the resistance there from that down move.
Look at DERM as well, Mitch.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was beautiful.
Uh,
I'm seeing that bounce right now.
Tiny. So have a good day. Appreciate you watching. But yeah, Mitch. I mean, if Mitch wants to, you can start being on the streams most mornings. And then when you stream, Mitch, you can kind of switch over and encourage people to go to yours. But yeah, I mean, now that we know how to do it to set Mitch up on Skype, I don't have a problem with letting Mitch be here, in the mornings as well. As long as he's
Yeah,
up for it.
and my idea is to probably get to doing more reviews for you guys, not necessarily live streaming. What I've been noticing more in my live stream is that I get to the point where you get off and, I just want to make a trade for you guys. I want to find the trade for you guys. And with that being said, I push it a little bit. At least I've been noticing.
Right. It happens, man. I had to get used to streaming in front of people too because, I finally got comfortable with, even if my viewers are mad at me for not taking a position, that's okay. Because it's like at first I would try to trade more because I know people are watching me and they don't want to just sit here and watch me talk. But, there's a little bit of pressure that comes with it for sure.
Without a doubt. I am watching ADMP there. I'm watching the 5-minute chart. If you watch the 5-minute chart, it's still setting up there, still looking nice there with that bear flag, still holding down there. I think there are some big sizing getting into this. If you look at the daily, it does have that support right there, but below that, you see where that last green candle was. Yesterday it was down there at 323. So definitely has that potential if it rejects that VWAP for it to come right back down. I know it's holding that 9 EMA right now at what is there? There's 451s. Yeah, 451 there.
Yeah, sorry, Fizzle. GBR is tradable. Yeah, GBR, you can trade GBR on TradeNet. I'm really considering getting in DERM here. I mean, the biggest thing that's keeping me from it is the volume. You know, the volume's definitely started to go down to where it's only getting 4,000 or 5,000 shares traded per minute, and that's just a little bit too low for me, at least in this trade.
Definitely. It's not the trade that I wanted, but if you actually look at BLNK, it actually still did the VWAP fade for me. This is the difference between the edge and the non-edge play. When we don't have an edge, we're not going to get that volume to come in at 9:30. On that first down candle, you want to see shorters have gotten in there, because what it is, it actually traps some shorts on the bounce to the VWAP. And so they're just trapped, and then we got that position on. Some people might try to go long through the VWAP, some people are stuck, and that's what really gives us the position and start giving us an edge. You know, if you don't see that washout at the beginning, that's not really what I like to see. You know, I like to see a big amount of volume on that first wash.
Right. Yeah, that's the biggest thing like that I did wrong with PED, I think, is that I didn't wait. Like, one of the things is, like, even though I might miss out on some opportunities, I just know from my style of trading, waiting for that first 5 or 10 minutes to pass, I usually do substantially better after that. If I try to jump in within the first 3 or 4 minutes like I did on PED, usually it ends up backfiring on me, you know. And so I just have to wait and have a little bit of patience. Like I said, look at ADMP though, Mitch. It's bouncing up to that 460 level now. And like I said, DERM looks good. Like, this looks like kind of the conventional, you know, VWAP rejection strategy. And you know, you can see a lot of times, even when the volume is low, it ends up fulfilling. But volume's just too low for this one on DERM. I'm just glad I got that profitable trade, that $10 profitable trade, just to get my confidence a little bit higher.
That's what it's about, man. That's what I did on last week. I got a little upset because I ruined the profits from it, but that trade on DERM, it was just to get that confidence back, you know, and that confidence in the strategy, confidence in the edge, and then just willing to take it now.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Look at BLNK break that $5. You see, that's what I was looking for. We just got no volume in the move today. If there was volume in this trade at the beginning at 9:30, I would have been in this trade.
Yeah, the volume's just too low. It's just inherently risky.
Without a doubt.
You know, you can get squeezed easily with no volume.
Yeah.
And the spread's gonna be kind of gnarly.
One of the good things to remember though is with CFD trading, our share size is not showing up there on the level 2s. Doesn't matter what we do, we're not going to show up there on the level 2s. So that does help us out in shorting. You know, some people could look at it as a disadvantage. I looked at it actually, that's an advantage towards us, as we can get in with bigger sizing without anybody knowing that we're actually in this stock.
Right. Yeah, I mean, people hate on CFD trading, but honestly, I mean, the fills are excellent. You know, the fills are quick. I can use a market order if I want and get filled. As long as the stock has good volume, I get filled right on the dot, like right where I want to. Brian says there are 3 steps to being a profitable trader. First, learning what not to trade. Second, being consistent. Third, learning to size. Yeah, I definitely agree with that, Brian. I haven't seen you in a while, though, Brian. I haven't seen you in a few months, brother. Where you been, man? But no, I actually agree with that. And one thing that gives me confidence is that I understand that at this point, like, especially considering the last few weeks, I'm right around the sizing aspect, and the sizing is what's giving me the most trouble, you know? Like, I've learned what not to trade. Like, I don't trade IPOs anymore. I don't trade longs for the most part. Like, most of the time I'm just a short bias trader. But if you look at the past 2 weeks of trading, like, I've had my win rate has been spot on. The biggest thing that's kind of keeping me back is I get into setups with bigger sizing, and I get into losing setups with bigger sizing, and I get into winning setups with small sizing because I get spooked out of the big ones. So like this morning's a good example. I got in PED with 200 shares. It went against me only 10 or 15 cents. I exited for a $35 loss. And then I got in GEMP, made around 36 cents a share, but I only had 50 shares. And so I got out with a $10 gain as opposed to what would have been substantially more than that to make it another profitable day. And so I'm, like I said, I don't try to act like an expert. I'm not an expert or anything like that. I really don't want people to take it as like I'm trying to pretend like I'm an expert or anything like that. I'm still a relatively new trader. And I still have a lot of stuff I have to work on, but at this point, I just need to get the sizing down, and I think I'll be okay. I think I'm pretty good at finding setups with a decent amount of edge in them. And it's like that video you watched that you sent me, Mitch. If you're losing, if your setups aren't working, you know what I mean, then you don't have an edge. I mean, I know that's kind of self-evident, but I think they say in that video, like if you're consistently losing with the setups you're doing, like if you're losing over and over again and you're losing more than you're winning, that setup doesn't necessarily have an edge. And you need to find setups that have a consistent edge that is proven in that setup,
Yeah, one of the key things I learned in the video too is that I went back to really looking at trying to make a full thesis on a trade versus as just trading for price action, we see the setup, but we want to be even a little bit more than just the setup. I want to have the correct variables like RVOL, relative volume. I want to have the right setup for the daily chart. Those are the key things that I think are really separate consistent traders and the average retail trader. The average retail trader is not looking at the daily. He's not looking at multiple time frames. He's not looking at the fundamentals of the stock, see if the stock is complete trash, if it has warrants out. One of the key things for the VWAP fade is I'm looking for non-catalyst move. So like today, we didn't get that catalyst on GMP. We didn't get a catalyst on GBR. Those are the kind of moves that the catalyst is not there
to prop it up.
The drive is not there. So there's going to be a different way. It's either going to go short or it's going to go long. So that really shows you the extension.
I'm kind of kicking myself, Mitch, for DERM. Called this one out at 865, and now it's down to 848, man.
Huge bounce there.
Right.
The key is smaller position size. So you're seeing the bounce, and you're shorting into strength. So just take a really, really small size. If it pushes against you, you get out for, $12 loss, and you say, oh, well, I took my shot, and it didn't go my way. But what's worse is seeing that stock do that you saw, and then not taking the trade and knowing you should have taken that chance.
Yeah, the volume just kept me from it. But I mean, it was a good example of the VWAP fade here. I mean, if the volume kicks in at 841, it looks even better. But yeah, just another good example of that VWAP fade. Just a bearish trend, pulls back up to test the VWAP, gets rejected, comes back down, tests the lows of the day. Kind of exactly what I was looking for with it. In this setup, like this is one of those setups where it's like I've preached about a lot of setups in the market. I really have. I've preached about a lot of different setups, and this is one of those setups that I'm actually really confident in, just because I see, like, I've back tested it. I've looked at all the examples of the stock testing the VWAP throughout the day, and more times than not, it ends up fulfilling to do what I want it to drop down below. It's just about having the guts to actually jump in the trade when I see it, and like you said, take smaller sizing and kind of scale into the position so my risk is lower,
There you go. That's what I kind of wanted to see there on GMP. It was getting up there to that danger zone for the squeeze. But I did get that rejection there, hard rejection there. So
what's your risk?
My risk is off of the last high, which was there at 42.
Okay.
So anything in the 43s or higher, I'll just go ahead and get out.
Yeah, that looks good. I mean, you could do it at 42 or at 48, but
exactly.
If it starts
I like
getting
the last high.
Right.
Because the reason is that this essentially is a bear flag. This is a bear flag that's forming, and right now you're kind of getting an inverse hammer, so it's kind of not really a really good sign for me, at least from pattern wise, as you got like a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder. But this is the combination of a strategy. We're using a VWAP fade with a smaller term pattern. You look for the bear flag, so you look for a down one, down two, up two, down three, up three move, and then you look for a down. So now
There
anything
you go.
above that last high, which was 940, I could get out.
Yeah, there you go. It dropped down to 930 for a second.
Yeah.
But no, I
So
agree. Listen to what Sean's saying. Sean says doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, is the definition of insanity. Yeah, that's Einstein's definition of insanity, and it makes sense. So if like you're following the same pattern over and over again and it's not working, get a new setup, get a new pattern. There's nothing wrong with switching. You know what I mean? My bad,
look at
Mitch.
ADMP. Look at ADMP, guys.
Ooh,
This is what I was expecting.
There's
That
another
touched the
VWAP
four-
fade.
Hey, 465. I called it out earlier. That touched the VWAP on the
There it
5
goes.
minute, and look at that. Oh, that's the trade I should be in. I was watching it. I knew there was some big shorters in there. So if you would have been able to get there at 465, when you get this washout, you have to learn to not think profit.
Right.
Think add risk. All right, I'm out there.
Yeah,
Out
it
there on GMP.
could start getting squeezed up. I mean, we'll
Yeah,
see.
guys. It's just at a level that is too uncomfortable for me, and that's why I was in there with a forced sizing. So I get out there, I lose, $14, but I'll go ahead
Small
and I'll
loss.
lose that $14 versus I would have got in there 100 shares and lost, $30-$40, and when we lose 30 or $40, we should essentially be done for the day,
Right.
essentially with our account. We don't want to push it into the red too much.
Right.
That's really what's really kills us and kills our profitability.
It clouds our judgment too much, I think, if you take too big of a loss,
Way too. You saw it with PED. You didn't want to take another sizing trade because of the loss,
Right.
the first loss.
And I mean, I'm happy with, honestly, I'm down $25 before commissions on the day, but I'm actually happy with that. Like, I'm happy, of course I'm not happy with it, but I'm happy to not have compounded the loss, regardless of whether that last trade worked out for me.
Oh no, it's looking nice, and you see on BLNK people added there for that break of 5, and then on ADMP there you saw the huge volume there after that reject. So what happened is it rejected to go back up to that VWAP, and as soon as it rejected, people started hammering hard as they got short on that first pop up, probably in the 65s, and now they re-added there at 65.
You mean you're watching BLNK or
Both. I'm watching BLNK and ADMP.
Oh, ADMP.
I saw that move there on BLNK. They're just people adding into that $5 break. They're risking off of that 510, 505 area.
Yeah. I mean, another one, like if you look at CEI, I'm kind of opposed to shorting stocks under $1, but this is kind of a little VWAP test here. It's kind of a crucial point, and the risk, well, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know how good the risk reward is.
I agree with you with that dollar thing. It's a little weird, those dollar plays.
Right.
I only really like shorting them if they get fully extended through that dollar, kind of like PED did, but it never looked back.
Hey, look at DERM. Call that one out on the nose, brother. I mean, this is the setup. I mean, here's the thing though. Like, I'm not too disappointed.
There's no edge. You guys
Right.
tell me there's no edge in these trades, man.
Right. The VWAP fade. Like, if you look at each time it happened, GEMP gave 2 or 3 of them before it ended up bouncing back and breaking at 1, 2 VWAP fades. ADMP 1, 2 VWAP fades. DERM VWAP fade. And so, of course, no setup's going to work 100% of the time, but it's one of those setups where I think there's a consistent edge in it.
That's what matters.
TRXC, I'm watching this one as well.
Like if you had that ADMP position there at 465, and when you get that crackdown there, you really are just looking for a green candle to add there, man, because that's what you want to do. You want to just now have your position near that last high.
Right.
If you can get your position anywhere in those 450s or 460 range, you get this breakdown right here. And it's going hard because the reason
Look at it now.
is
Look
that
at ADMP. My
the
bad.
shorters were in there. No, you're good, bro. I it's that emotion of seeing that, that's that sizing, that jump. People jump short there.
Right.
You see on the red candle high volume, and then the next candle high volume. And if you see at the beginning, 930 candle, 931 candle, huge volume there, 276,000 on that one. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing that reject through that.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then, so the big traders are adding. They're not taking profits here. They only took profits probably as soon as it broke there about 28. They probably took a little bit. They take a little bit of their core position, and now anything popping up there to the 38s or 40, they're gonna go add big because they can get that move right back down to $4 range.
Right. I mean, I just see the setup happen over and over again. At this point, it's like I think we found the setup with Edge that at least I'm going to start focusing on. It's just about executing our trades to where, you know, where we take bigger gains than the few losses we do take on it. That's the biggest thing, you know. And if we could do that, I think we'll be good, you know, because like I've been trading for a few years now, consistently trading only for about a year. And you know, I think I've spotted setups that have a decent amount of edge in them. It's just about executing the trade and actually having the guts to jump in when I see it and having the guts to use bigger sizing. So I just have to get comfortable with that bigger sizing, and if I could do that, I think I'll be okay. That's the biggest problem I have is like, you know, again, today's a good example. I took a loss on PED, only about 15 or 16 cents, right, a share. When I got into GEMP, I made 25 or 30 cents a share, but my sizing was much smaller, and so I have to be okay with, okay, I took a $30 loss on the day. I'm still going to try to use bigger sizing and kind of get into my setup and take a bigger gain out of the market. There's a very fine line between overtrading and trying to revenge trade with kind of after a loss, and so I think that's what I'm ultimately was afraid of, is I didn't want to revenge trade and kind of compound my loss to make it bigger, but you know, there's a lot of opportunities with this setup, and so I just have to kind of focus on it. You know, and if, like I said, it doesn't matter how many accounts I go through. You know, I'm determined to be a profitable trader. I love trading. It's my passion. Obviously, I have this channel for it.
Yep.
And regardless of how many TradeNet accounts I have to open up, you know, I know some family members have opened up TradeNet accounts, if you know what I mean. But, you know, it doesn't matter how many. As long as I can kind of get it down one day, I'll be good. It's just about learning and kind of moving forward.
That's really what it's about, man. At the end of the day, it's finding the strategy that's going to work for us, finding our edge. You know, one of the key things I'm starting to really work on is what's called the playbook. SMB calls it the playbook, and I feel like it's a good name for it. We really got to start getting more defined in our trades, only taking the trades that are going to be this setup.
Hold on, you know, Adley, get out of here, man. This isn't Forex. Adley, I'm sorry. Adley's kind of one of our trolls too. She's cool though, but she's just messing with you. No, this is trading stocks. It's not binary or Forex. This is stocks. Sorry, keep going, Mitch. My bad,
no,
Mitch.
You're good. You're good, bro. No stress.
Adley messing with our viewers. All right.
Definitely. We just got to find the trade that really works for you, you know? You know, I've taken this trade a lot, and I used to be a lot more long bias trader, where I would take more bull flags. And what I've noticed is that these elevator rides down, like when you get these big red candles like this is really where I can make my money. This is where I can have my edge. I can have a really controlled risk amount and really get that potential gain.
Right.
You know, if you're anywhere in those last like 10, 15 minutes where you're risking off of probably about 10, 15 cents, when we see that down move, what are we seeing? We're seeing, you know, 35, 40 cents down.
Right.
So that right there just shows you that this is the kind of trade you want to be in. So really, it's getting it down to more variables so that we're not taking just any time we see this strategy. We got to be a little bit more picky with it. So seeing that high volume come in on that 931 candle, that's when we get our more signal. This is our kind of stock. We were watching it to begin with. Now we're getting that confirmation of volume. Let's start looking in for our entry here and take our shot.
Right. Yeah, I just posted the link for you, James, to Mitch's channel. That link right there will bring you to Mitch's channel.
Yeah. One of the, like for these kinds of trades is really what's going to make us our money, you know. I just see it time in and time out that the days that I made money if I go back, usually I see the trade and I left so much on the table. And it's because I finally made that well judged trade. It was a good pattern. It went my way, but I just take profits right off the table because, you know, everyone loves seeing green down there on that realized.
Right. But yeah, look at ears though, Mitch. Ears is starting to run up to 115. I mean,
Yeah,
we can't trade it, but
I'm watching ears. I'm watching Givo. Givo's been holding up there. Would like to see this crash down, but not really seeing anything. One of the key things is now we're getting to that 1030 range. This is where I really been making more of a mistake, you know. Around this time, I like from 9:45 to like 10:30, I'm looking for those stocks that held long to go long. And then I'm not really looking to short anything because what usually is happening there is either breakdowns of long patterns, or if the pattern was short to begin with, it's going to probably be a breakdown of the short pattern to a long side. So that's not really where we want to be trading. Around this time, if you're taking trades, you're kind of in what I call the 50-50 range.
right.
Usually it's either going to just go up or going down, and those are not the trades we want to take.
Yeah.
You know, we want to have a little bit more of an edge, a little bit earlier in the market. And now what I would be more looking is for you to really just look at patterns, form full patterns, not just, you know, fake breakouts.
Right.
You know, this is where you get those fake outs. This is right around that time when you get those fake outs. And the reason is that it's there for the specific reason of people that lost at the open and are trying to go ahead and take those revenge trades. And the market knows, man. It knows that at the end of the day, people mostly play within those first 30 minutes, and the losers are hanging around and the winners leave.
Right. DERM back up to that VWAP area.
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now.
Yeah, I've kind of made it.
Only problem with that is it's just there's too much probability there. You got the 5. You would have to play it on a 5-minute. It's not a bad stock to play.
Volume needs to be up there though a little bit. The volume needs to get there.
It's down. It's down for the day. Down on the daily.
So this is kind of a setup that I used to trade on ADMP, where it's like it's a little bit different setup than we go through, but it's when a stock breaks the lows of the day and then pushes up and holds that previous low, like in this case when ADMP, that previous low at 430, it holds that area as resistance. I don't know if I necessarily am going to jump into it, but it's a setup I used to play and then kind of set a goal for the low of the day after that.
So what I think about that play is that it's not a bad one, but it's because the ads are being there. The reason I think that you like to go short there is because it's an ad spot.
Right. It's when everybody's adding into their short position that they already took from the VWAP fade.
But the only thing they have against you, they have better, is they have an average cost up here.
Right.
At the 440s, so they can take that risk.
Right.
Now and adding into there. And so if you go and you take that trade, you have to really take it as a brand new trade. So you got to know that like 38 is going to be your ultimate risk.
Right.
And it's not the whole pattern. You're not really basing your trade on the whole pattern. You're more on just like a really quick, more trend pattern. And that's why I like to do more of an adding and getting the building the position so that you're seeing the confirmation come, and then we can take some profit. If you were able to take half your profit right now and have, you know, an average in the 40s or the 50s, you would just be relaxed right now. You can put your hands off of it. If you want, set a stop. You know, set a stop at 440 where you're not going to lose money, but definitely don't take profits early. You know, you take in half, you paid yourself. Now, don't make it a loser. Definitely don't make that green turn into a red, but give yourself a chance to really make the money.
Right, for sure. Vape, Alex, it's an electric cigarette. Y'all know I have kids, man. I'm not smoking that good. Get out of here.
Hey, you know, hey,
I wish I could. Don't get me wrong, but I'm in Texas right now, and I got 2 kids, and so I wouldn't. I have nothing morally against it. Like I said, I would if I could, but I'm in Texas and I got kids, and so I'm never gonna risk getting my kids taken away for something stupid.
Nah, definitely not. Definitely not worth it. But I don't got kids, guys, so don't worry about that.
Right.
That's the life, man. It's the life. You got more responsibilities to worry about.
Right, for sure. Yeah, can't talk right now. I've always debated with family about it. It's interesting. Like, smoking does something different to your brain, right? And so to put it, I've done projects on it and I've studied a little bit. So like, if you're not high, your brain's constantly analyzing the environment, trying to figure out what's significant enough to store in memory locations in your brain, right? So that's what your brain's doing when it's not high. But when you smoke, your brain doesn't have to do that. And so it allows your brain to wander more and thus makes you more creative. And that's why like musicians like it and everything like that, is because it allows you to create. That's also why it causes short-term memory loss. And so I've always like told people, if they have anything morally against smoking, a majority of their favorite musicians probably wrote their favorite songs, movies, and stuff like that while on it. And so it's just interesting. I've done a few studies on it, but like I said, I don't do it. I wish I could, but not in Texas, guys. And I don't know when it'll be legal in Texas. It probably won't be for a long time.
Yep, definitely won't. But all right, let's get back to trading.
Right.
Mills here talking about Steven Ducks is hunting all day. I don't know. Have you ever heard of Steven Ducks? Have you ever heard of him?
Yeah, that's one of Tim Sykes' proteges, huh?
Yeah. I actually watch him a lot. I really try to break down his knowledge, and what he's really giving you.
Yeah, for sure.
He's really good at realizing that he got like a great gain already. He's he has millions of he has like I think 2.8 million now. Started with like 50,000, I believe. But what he does really well is he takes data like no other trader I've ever seen. He looks for setups and he just copies them down on an Excel. He's all day long when he's not trading, he's taking statistical data of the market.
Nice.
And I think that's what really gives him an advantage over most traders. The guy is really intelligent with numbers. He goes to MIT.
Nice.
And with that being said, he knows that quant trading is,
Hey, real quick, look at GEVO. It's starting to kind of break the highs of the day. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm watching that bull flag. That's what we got. That 1 up, 1 down, 2 up, 2 down, 3 up, and then a base there at 410.
Yeah, it kind of a flat top breakout, kind of a wedge. Like you can see the triangle here.
Yeah, it's a pennant. What you got is the lower highs, or higher lows, and then you get that breakout.
Yeah, we'll see if we can hold support at that 420 level. But yeah, no, I watch a lot of traders on YouTube, believe it or not. I don't really have, like, some people think they're my competition or whatever, but I'm not an expert. I'm not trying to act like an expert or anything like that. But there's a lot of good free information on YouTube as well. Yeah, I've been watching Clay Trader. I actually have a theory about. Have you ever heard of Clay Trader?
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Have you ever heard of the martingale blackjack strategy?
That sounds interesting. It sounds familiar.
So
explain me it.
The martingale blackjack strategy is like, for instance, is like you consecutively double your bet sizing, right? So it's like your first bet, you bet $10. Right, and say it's a losing bet in roulette. I'm sorry, it's in roulette. So you bet $10 in roulette. Say you lose that $10. The next bet, you bet $20 in roulette. Say you lose that. The next bet, you bet $30. You lose that. You keep doubling your bet size until you have a winning bet, right? And so you would essentially have to lose like 6 times in a row in order for you to lose all your money. And it's a very popular roulette strategy. I kind of have a theory that is what Clay Trader does. Like Clay Trader, if you've ever watched him, he sizes into his positions and he keeps adding sizes until it drops for him, you know. And so I can't say whether it's good or bad, but I kind of have a theory that he's using the martingale roulette strategy in trading, and I don't know what he's doing or not, but that's what it seems like. The biggest problem with the martingale strategy in roulette is that, yeah, you may be profitable a majority of the time, but those few times where you actually lose 6 times in a row, you know, you're taking a massive hit, and your losses are most of the time going to be much bigger than your wins, because you might win 90% out of the time, but that 10% of the time you lose, you know, you're taking a huge loss. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm seeing Jivo hold here. If I did go long on this, I would be looking for more for it to hold that high there. I was thinking the 20 ad, risking off of 410 there, but I really not looking at this stock long. As you see the daily chart, the daily chart tells me that I should not long this chart. One of the key things, you know, sometimes is that we try to be too small trend on that trade. And yeah, you could scalp this. Yeah, scalping is possible on this kind of trade. But I want to be in trades that I'm in the overall trend. So like on shorts, I want to be where the overall trend is short on the stock. You know, if you look at the overall trend on Jivo, it's been going down and down and down each day. So I'm not trying to fight the current. The current has been bringing this stock down. Right. If I go and I try to long this stock, I could get really, really screwed.
Yeah, look at that drop on it now.
Yeah, you get that point where you get that right there to the 90 MA, and you know, now you're in that whole just watch, just kind of 50-50 mode. Right. And that's not the reason being is the edge has been taken out of this pattern because the daily chart doesn't support it.
Yeah, that's something I need to work on, is using the daily more.
Yeah, it really does help. You know, it's just that a lot of times we do get these fills of the shadow or, you know, the gap to the shadow. You know, a lot of times you get these high wicks like ADMP where, you know, you see it throughout the history. It never holds, never closes at the top. It always has a wick.
Right.
You know, so dailies really give you that confidence in that. So if you have these ability to look at it and see variables like a relative volume, you know, the RSI on the stock, real resistance and support holds, and then use that with the combination of at the open use a VWAP strategy, a fade. Now you got the combination of 3 different variables, and now you actually have a trade plan versus as just a setup.
Right. And the plan's the important part of it.
Yeah, the thesis. You
Right.
got to have a thesis, you know, in your trades. And it's not just about, you know, over trading. It's about taking the trades that are actually the ones you're supposed to take.
Right.
Because if we do that consistently, our statistics and our edge says that we're going to win on this pattern.
Right. Cool says, I used to follow Patrick Wieland until he started talking garbage. Yeah, I try not to talk bad about any other YouTubers. Like, here's the thing, like even with the gurus and the courses and stuff like that, like I've never taken the courses, so I don't know whether they're good or not. And so I try not to badmouth any of them. All of them, you know, most likely have way more experience and are much better traders than I am. And so it's like I can't really talk smack about any of these gurus or traders just because they're all better traders than I am. And so, you know, I'm not going to downplay them. I think it's really easy for a streamer to get insecure and kind of talk bad about other streamers and talk bad about other gurus and stuff like that. You know, like I said, I'm not saying any of the gurus are bad. I think most of them probably have a lot of decent information. It's just about whether you have the money to buy the courses, you know, which a lot of traders don't. And that's not the end of the world if you don't either. But, you know, trading, I think trading, the most valuable thing you can get in trading is simply experience. You know, if you trade the market long enough, I think that is extremely valuable, you know. And I think a lot of traders end up losing their accounts before they can really trade the market as long as they really need to. And so it's just about account preservation, in my opinion. But there's a lot of good information. Like, I know Warrior Trading has a lot of good free information. Tim Sykes does as well. A lot of good free videos they put out that new traders can learn from.
It's online, guys. You know, we have access to the web. You just have to kind of filter out the noise.
Right.
That's really what it's about. If you filter out the noise, you can find what's really true knowledge. You know, that's what you got to do. You got to find, and each trader can teach you something. Doesn't matter what they do, they're gonna do something good because it's all about personality. You know, personalities change, and that usually means that they're usually better at a certain thing.
Right. I mean, even traders losing, like even for me losing, like you can learn a lot just by watching me lose. Like, you know, whether you can learn a lot by what I do right and by what I do wrong. And I think losses teach you the most in trading. Like as a poker player, I love poker. You know, my poker losses will teach me a lot more than my winners. You know what I mean? I can always forget my winning sessions in poker, but those brutal losses kind of stick in my mind, and it's the same with trading. And so that's the most important thing, is learning from your losses, you know.
All right, I'm seeing a potential trade here on DERM.
Going short?
Yes. I was seeing a potential there, getting in there at 58. Had my finger on the button, didn't take it.
Yeah, we'll see if it can wash. It's tested the VWAP a few times now. I liked it much better when it tapped that first high, like on this first push back up when it got to 865 right here. Now that it's bouncing back, I don't know if I like it as much, but if it breaks under 850 and looks weak, you know.
Yeah, ADMP looks like it's gonna. If it gets above 40s, it'll come back to the VWAP. If it gets below 25, it's probably gonna crash down. And the thing about DERM and why I was interested in it is that I actually like when they do 3 tests of the VWAP and then fail.
Right.
So right there, it did that like last little test there at 63, then came back and kind of did a little inverse hammer. Inverse hammers are usually mean it's a bullish pattern. It's just one single candle, but it usually means that it can curl right above that high, that 64. And since I didn't see that curling action just to break up above that 64, that's why I was thinking about getting short there at 58, because you can go ahead and risk off of above the VWAP,
right,
or that first high, which was 870. So you're risking about 10 cents for a potential, 30 cent, 20 cent down move just to support at 840s.
Right, it's holding the VWAP pretty strong here. I mean, if it can break underneath this 853 and 850 level, I think it'll test the lows of the day at least.
Yeah, the real key in this is just there's no volume, and that's why I'm not going to go ahead and just get in it. It could just crash on down here, but I would have liked to, if I was getting in there, it's 58.
Right.
It's 58. It's right there when I noticed it. And one of the key things is if you do get that instinctual feeling, like you did get that on that first pop-up there for DRM, that's when we have to take it, man. The reason we're getting those instinctual feelings is that we've seen this pattern play too many times. And so when you get that, you have to learn how to start taking those triggers. One of the key things I learned, Mark Douglas talks about this a lot in the trading with, what's it called? Let me see that book. It's one of my favorite books from Mark Douglas. Trading in the Zone, he talks about a lot of that. One of the key things is taking the triggers that you have. If it's your strategy, it's matching the variables, and it's matching like everything that you set up beforehand, and you don't take the trade. Those are the trades that are going to get to you the most, because in your mind that's your trigger point. And you got to learn to start taking those.
Right.
If it's your trigger, you take the trigger, and then boom, your plan, your risk, you just go from there on. But what happens is that you miss your trigger, and then you see the stock make that FOMO move where it just starts just getting to you, because you know that you should have been in the stock, but now you're not in the stock. Now you've seen the move go down, you've seen your strategy play out. And usually what happens is is that you go and you make a bad decision later on in the day.
Right, because you have that FOMO, that you got that frustration from missing a good setup. And so that's why that's the biggest thing I need to be careful with, is not forcing trades after losses. Like if I take a loss, it's okay. Green day or red days are going to happen, and it's just about not forcing and, forcing trades after you do take those losses,
Yep. Without a doubt.
Mehdi says for Muslims, gambling and poker is prohibited, but trading is allowed.
I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean,
come on, like even in poker, there's edge. People know how to play poker. They know the probability. It's just a probability game, just like trading.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually against gambling for the most part. Like trading, poker is different from every other game at the casino. Even blackjack, the house still has about a 3% edge on you in blackjack, just because they have a bigger bankroll. But with poker, you're not playing against the house, and so your odds are substantially better because you're not playing against the house. You're playing against other players. And poker is just one of my passions. I love poker, but it's just every other game in the casino, the house has an edge, except for poker, Even blackjack. People say blackjack's your best odds in the casino. Not necessarily true. The house still has a 4% edge. Poker, if you're good at it, you probably have the most edge. I haven't, Brian. I heard it's really a sad story, though. The guy that wrote that book, I heard Tim Sykes talking about it, but the guy that wrote that book, he was one of the most successful stock traders. He made like millions and millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. Towards the end of his life, he used too much leverage and ended up going bankrupt and committing suicide, I believe. So a really sad story, but I've never read it. I've heard a lot about it, though. It's one of those books that is kind of on my bucket list to read.
The crazy part is that guy won. He lost all his money, got a bigger wealth back, and then leveraged again and lost it all again.
It's rough, man. It's tough. That leverage, man. I always say, like, the biggest problem with SureTrader is that they offer you too much leverage, and that's not their fault. But I think it's really easy for a brand new trader to say, hey, I can trade, if I deposit $1,000, I can trade $6,000 worth of leverage, let me go ahead and do that. And then one or two bad trades and your account's gone, and that's kind of the scariest thing about it, is that even if you have that leverage, it's usually, much better just to try to trade the equity you have in your account.
Yeah, that's the same thing with TradeNet. They put that buying power there for you for a reason.
Right.
They want you to lose.
Look at TRXC.
They want you to lose, man. That's the key. They want you to lose in that.
Right. And I'm not even mad at them for it. It makes more sense. Like, people get mad at SureTrader for...
It's a business.
Right.
It's a business, man.
Like people get mad at SureTrader because the reason SureTrader has so many shorts available is because they actually take the other side of the trade. They make the market for shorts for you. So if you're going short in SureTrader, I think sometimes they're actually taking the opposing side of that trade. So that's why they have so many shares to short. And I can't even get mad at them for it, because if 90% of traders fail, that's a pretty safe bet. You know what I mean? I would do it if I was them,
Without a doubt. I agree. And same thing's probably happening with TradeNet for the CFD.
Right.
One of the things I notice is when I do short sometimes, I just kind of cancel. I put out spam orders sometimes. I used to do this with SureTrader, and it actually does help. Big traders do this. They put out orders, fake orders on the level 2s. They'll put it out like 10 cents higher just to put pressure on the stock the opposite way. Yeah. And I've like kind of spammed the market a little bit with TradeNet, and I've seen that like certain times when I do put out that order and I do cancel it, there's another order being filled almost immediately. So I think that there is someone on the other side taking the opposite trade, and sometimes they get filled,
Right. It's kind of like U-Stock, where it's like they have super users to like make the market for you.
I agree completely.
Would love to see you do some poker vids. Yeah, maybe one day, NYC. Poker, I'm actually good at poker. Like, one of my TradeNet accounts. Sorry, Mitch, I knew you were about to say something.
You're good.
But one of my TradeNet accounts, I actually bought with my winnings on poker. Like I used a website called Global Poker, and they recently switched it to where you can't cash out via PayPal. But I literally deposited $20 into Global Poker and turned it into like 400 and something, and then withdrew the money and bought a TradeNet account with it. And so poker, I've been playing poker for years. It's all about analyzing your opponent's range. And that's all you really have to do is try to analyze your opponent's range, especially with micro stakes. It's really, it can be really profitable if you, understand the kind of nuances of it.
Watching, you see, that's the kind of what I want to see there for DERM.
Yeah, DERM starting to wash. That's illegal, I thought. Poker in the U.S. is kind of vague whether it's legal or illegal. Global Poker found a way around it somehow. They offer sweeps cash instead of actual cash. And so they found some kind of loophole to get around it, is what Global Poker did. That's why I was using them. The laws on poker in the U.S. are actually very vague. The law that's keeping poker sites from running is the law that was created like 30 or 40 years ago, and it essentially says you can't bet on anything over the phone, over state lines, over the phone, right? And so that they use that to kind of interpret it as you can't play poker, but it's actually a very vague law.
Without a doubt.
James White, is TradeNet bad to use as a beginner trader? It's all subjective, man. It all depends on who you are as a trader. If you can, it all depends. I love TradeNet, and I'm a new trader. But the biggest problem with it is if you like trading really cheap penny stocks, a lot of times they're not tradable. And this week hasn't been too bad so far. Like today hasn't been too bad. But a lot of stocks aren't tradable on there. Somebody actually explained it to me where it's like, if the stock has had less than 500,000 shares traded in the last 3 months, you can't trade it. Where if the stock has had at least 500,000 shares traded in the last 3 months, then they'll go ahead and add it to TradeNet. And so if the stock kind of comes out of nowhere and picks up some volume, usually it's not tradable. Whereas like if the stock has regular volume daily, most of the time it'll be tradable in TradeNet, if that makes sense. So somebody explain that to me. VWAP bounce on GEVO. Yeah, bouncing off the VWAP, pushing up. It's kind of forming a little channel here. I'd prefer to wait for it to go one way or the other.
Without a doubt, I would wait on that stock. Like we talked about it earlier. The daily doesn't give you a long, so be careful of that one.
Right. You meant illegal in regards to putting orders out to trick people into buying and selling on time and sales. I mean, it may be illegal, but I know that happens a ton. People put out big orders to scare people in and out of positions. I see it happening a lot.
It's not illegal. If you actually I did a lot of, I read Kramer's books, and Kramer talks big about this. Kramer actually talks about a story where he was in the market, actually in New York on Wall Street, and he watched a trader do this.
I mean, I don't know whether it's illegal or not. I know it happens though. And
you're not tricking anybody. You're putting a real order out there. It's 100% real. That's why it's not a trick.
Well, technically, maybe not, but I know I've heard a lot of people in like Australia and overseas markets talk about how their order book is much more reliable than the U.S.'s orders. From what they say, the U.S. order is kind of clouded, and it's kind of
you need access to dark pool.
Right, it's kind of clouded, and there's a lot of what's the word? There's a lot of, not trick, but there's a lot of people trying to manipulate the time and sales and the level to in the U.S. market, whereas like overseas, I think they're a little bit more strict with it, and so you're not actually allowed to try to manipulate it to a certain extent. But like I said, this is all speculation. I'm really not 100% sure either way.
Yeah, I read about that. if Kramer definitely talks about it in his book that he was with a trader that did that in live in front of him, and what that made him realize is that you couldn't just trade off of technicals, and that's why Kramer is where he is today.
Yeah,
Because
Kramer's a gangster. You know?
I mean, hey, there's bigger traders, guys. I mean, just think about it this way: if you have access to $1 million, think about the change that you can make in a stock of $8.50.
Oh, for sure. Especially if it's a low float stock.
Exactly. So one of the key things is realizing that the Wall Street's against us, guys. We're retail traders. They're not trying for us to win. So they have access to dark pooling, hiding orders, hidden sellers, and we can't see that most of the time. Sometimes we can tell when you see the spam of like 100 orders here on the level twos. Like you sometimes see that. But really, like as you talk to actual traders that are more like in prop firms and stuff like that, they tell you access to dark pool really creates a difference. I had a professor that he's dealt with trading before, and he always said that it was always about the access to the order book and what kind of access you had that really gave you an advantage.
Yeah, I was watching a video about trading in the 1980s, and a guy makes it like an important point is that any loss or gain you take is by any gain you make is because you have everything in trading is related to information. Any loss you take is because of lack of information for the most part, and any potential gain you make is because you had a surplus of information for the most part. And so it's all about information. That's like you said, Stephen Dux was his name, right? D-U-X?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said
Data.
he uses that data, man. And
Yeah, man, he's amazing with it, bro, guys. That just shows you guys. You guys gotta really take a trade journal and really know what kind of trades you're taking, the ideas behind it, your mentality behind the trade. Even if you don't take the actual trade, just writing it down can really start getting you statistical data to find the strategies that really win. The guy has a win rate of over 80%.
that's crazy too. And that's an awesome. It may not for new traders, they may not understand how good an 80% win rate is.
80% win rate is, I'm sorry to say, that's almost godly.
Yeah, it's legit, man. 80%. That's what do you think about GEMP, Mitch? It's breaking
And
back down under the VWAP here.
let me take a look on a bigger chart.
Volume's a little low, but GBR is still running crazy too.
The real key is it's just doing that move back to what I call, so like you have that resistance up there, we have that support. We're getting into that more of that in between stage.
Right.
You are getting those down candles, but those down candles are coming with how much volume?
GEVO. Yeah, GEVO, it was kind of a wedge, an ascending triangle to a certain extent, but it never really broke out. It kind of pushed up. GEVO is kind of just riding the VWAP at this point. So the only, like if I was going to enter GEVO, it would only be either above the high of the day or below the VWAP. Anything aside from that, I think it's just going to be choppy until it breaks one of those crucial kind of levels.
Yeah, if I would take a trade on Jivo, it would have to be a scalp. I'm not looking for a trade and hold kind of position, looking for an in and out, trying to get some profits, using the supports to really base it on. It's actually it ripped through to the 430s, and I feel like it should have held more in those 20s or 18s before actually going long again. That bounce back to VWAP is not really something you want to see on a long pattern. You want to see a trend line kind of hold, and it had a trend line going all the way up until that green candle where it breaks down at 1049.
Right. And plus the VWAP is kind of sideways. Like if a stock is bullish, you want to see the VWAP kind of go up with the stock as opposed to what it's doing now, which is kind of going in a straight sideways line. The volume, if the volume's taken into consideration, that means the volume is kind of going sideways. It's kind of just break even. Where it's like if it's a bullish pattern, the VWAP will slowly go up as the stock pushes up.
I agree completely. You see it, it's just kind of basing out, and then that's kind of like a kill candle right there on that 1049. It just kind of kills out the early pattern, and now it's creating a completely different pattern on the 1 minute. So kind of what I usually do is when I see that kind of change of pattern where it's not the same pattern that it was doing, I try to go for a further time trend, and that helps you out really determine what's the stock is more doing what trend wise. 5 minute and 15 minute usually helps. 15 minute tells you that it's still bullish, but below $4 could really come down, and then you look at the daily, and the daily just tells you there's no point in me looking at this stock long, because if it even breaks through 430s, what do you have there? Maximum potential 20-cent gain on a stock that is really down and bearish for the day. It's not really a bull. It's not trending up. It's not up 60% on the day. Those are the kind of stocks whom I think is better to go long on. Stocks that have been running for the day, held the VWAP, held support, and are going to go ahead and make another run.
What do you think about TRXC? V Reyna says, "Why don't you guys consider working in a proprietary trading firm?" I would honestly, I have nothing against it. It's just about
Yeah, I don't have nothing wrong with that. I'm trying to make it on my own.
right. I mean, if a prop firm reached out to me and was like, "Hey, and let me get set up for free," essentially, that would be one thing. But I know there's a lot of prop firms that you have to like pay to get into. And so I don't really want to do that necessarily. I wouldn't, if a prop firm reached out to me and wanted to like let me join and like let me get set up for free, then that's one thing. But I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen. But
Yeah, I would say the same thing. It's nothing that I think we both have something against trading with a prop firm, but we just don't have that opportunity right now. We're more along trying to figure our way as traders first. I know I wouldn't want to be in a prop firm with, let's say, $100,000 in that buying power.
yeah,
I'm definitely not ready to trade with $100,000 yet.
right,
I just got to be real to myself. One of the best things as a trader is know your lane.
right.
You
No, I
you
agree.
can't overextend. Overextending really just kills you.
You got to take it slow. Just like
Yeah.
what the author of Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, same thing happened to him. He used too much leverage, got a little bit too wild with it, and it ended up,
Yeah.
hurting him in the long run.
And the what you really don't want to do is end up going to these prop firms, finding out that you were on their contract for the losses, and then end up
Right.
taking a $50,000-$60,000 hit and owing a
Be
prop
in
firm.
debt. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
definitely not something I want to go through.
Right. If I lose money, I want it to be liquid money that I already have. I don't want it to be
Yeah,
debt owed,
exactly.
you know.
Exactly. Liquid money we have extra money that we're willing to go ahead and take risk with, and so be it. If we lose the money, then we're not going to kill anybody. We're not going to go
Hurt anybody in the
and
long run.
exactly or hurt ourselves. That's one of
Right.
the key things in trading. You don't want the pressures on you. The pressures don't help. That's
For
why we
sure.
trade small.
All right,
We'll get into that.
DERM starting to spike up a little bit here.
Yeah, we get into that lunchtime, so starting to see stocks slow down a little bit. If you do want to take trades in this time, I always recommend you have to be really, really, really exact on trades around this time. A lot of times you get fake outs through 11 through about, I say 1:30 in that range. This is about the lunchtime.
Yeah.
People start leaving. Losing traders are in here. They're just trying to make the next trade, anything that moves.
They're
And
blindly jumping into.
yeah, they're just blindly jumping in a lot of times. You're just thinking the next trade is the one I'm going to win. And
Never
that's
works
really
out.
not the mentality.
Yeah. I've been there. You know what I mean? I've been there, man. I know how it is.
We've all done it.
You
We've
know,
all done it.
it
We take
happens.
that big hit and we're like, oh, no, but this stock is jumping now.
Right.
Now I can jump into this one and make my money back.
Right.
That doesn't work out like that.
Never does, man. It always that's the biggest thing new traders need to understand is that, you know, it's okay to only trade for an hour or so, an hour or two. You don't have to trade all day. A lot of these other, you know, a lot of people are streaming all day, and that's fine. And there is value to streaming all day, so you can kind of see what's moving, what's making moves. But you don't, it's like Jeremy mentioned earlier, like volume has to be there in order for your setups and patterns to work the majority of the time, especially for long setups. You know, low volume can be a good thing sometimes for short setups, but just because you can see the buys start to dry up. But it's like you want to see volume, and if the volume's not there, it's just a coin flip. You know what I mean? And you don't want to be stuck in a coin flip. You want to, you know, have a very obvious area. Hold on one second, guys.
Mr. Eric, if that's the time you do best, if you do best between 12 to 1 p.m., then hey, then stick to it. Find what's working for you. You know, I never say that you can't trade through this time, just that you have to know exactly what you're trading. Yeah, I mean, we don't have to be on all day today, anyways. I'm seeing the stocks starting to slow down. I'm thinking that we might have a lunchtime push,
All right.
maybe some lunch rush, but
Yeah, sorry, my wife was talking to me. What were you saying, Mitch?
you know, I'm sure that, you know, maybe we're not gonna run this whole stream all day today. I don't know if you got prior commitments, but I definitely think we should at least take a little bit of a break. You know, one of the key things of staying all day is that you have to have the ability to really be patient. And if you watch every candle move, you just get burnt.
Right.
You just get burnt.
My plan is I'll probably end up closing the stream down and then starting it back up around 2 p.m. market time. You know what I mean?
Sounds good.
Like towards the end of the day.
I'll probably be back around 1:30. I like that 1:30 range to really just start kind of watching the moves.
Yeah, well, just text me, brother. We'll get it started back. So yeah, guys, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to both Mitch and I. Here's Mitch's channel right here. But yeah, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I should be back around 2 p.m. market time, so in a few hours once the volume kicks in. I'm not going to trade anything midday at lunchtime. That's, like Mitch was saying, that's kind of suicide as a trader, so I'm not trying to do that. But yeah, I'll be back. Now we know how to get Mitch set up to where he can be on the stream as well. So, you know, hopefully Mitch will come back as well. But yeah, hit the subscribe button, guys. I day trade live every weekday morning from about 8:45 a.m. until about 10:15, 10:30 market time usually. And so make sure you hit the subscribe button, and I'll be back in a few hours to hopefully maybe get into another trade. I don't know. So make sure you join us then. Mitch, you want to say something before we close it down?
Yeah, man, it was a pleasure being with you guys today. You know, one of the key things that, you know, we're going to be trying to work on is really trying to get down to this strategy, this VWAP fade. And, you know, we're both looking towards the same strategy. So that way we can, you know, really build on it for you guys. Really see that we're not just trying to trade just off of price action. We're trying to get that whole trading plan, guys. Really take your data, see the trades that you made today, and learn. Study, study, study hard, guys.
Hey, sorry, Juan. Well, what I mean by all day is, I mean, I'm going to stream in the morning. It's lunchtime, bro, so I don't know if you really want to get in anything now. And if I'm not going to be trading, I mean, I can sit here, but, you know, I think it would be better to start it back up around 2. So when I meant all day, I meant morning and afternoon trading. I don't really want to trade lunchtime. That's just, the more I look at charts, the more it's going to make me want to jump in positions. And like Mitch was saying, it's just inherently risky at lunchtime. So sorry about that.
Yeah. I mean, hey, there's stocks out there. If you want to stick around, stick around. But we're gonna take a little break off our eyes.
Right, for sure. But yeah, I'll be back. I'll try to come back at 1:30. You know. But yeah, it's later, guys. I'll start the stream back up then. So just be on the lookout for it. I'll see you guys a little bit later today. All right, Mitch. All right, brother. Text me when you're ready, and we'll start it back up, man.
Sounds good.
All right, brother.